Mexican records got the lights down low. Souldisco where the groovy people go. Hit play, let the music flow. Old school beats with a modern glow.
Hello everybody and a very warm welcome back to the latest episode of Hidden Jewels of Soul and Disco. In this week's episode, I'm featuring a singer, songwriter and producer who helped to shape the sound of the soul and R&B scene of the 70s. Unfortunately, this artist is not a household name. He's highly under the radar, and I hope this episode changes this at least a little bit. Today, I'm featuring the legendary Prince Phillip Mitchell. Phillip Mitchell was born on June the 27th in 1944 in Louisville, Kentucky. While being in school, he learned to play the trumpet and the cornet and went on to learn how to play the piano and also the guitar. At that same period of time when he was getting into playing instruments, he was also getting into writing poems and songs. And he loved to teach people how to sing harmony. And very often he was sitting in a room and listened to the group while he was writing poems and material for them to sing. His first professional musical steps were with the group The Checkmates. And later on, he became the lead singer of the group The Cash Register, which was formerly led by Alvin Cash, who had left the group before Phillip joined them. When his musical career started to take off, he was drafted into the military, but was let go or discharged in 1965 due to medical reasons. But as soon as he was let go by the military, he got back into his first love, the music, and was approached by Hubby Gibbs to join the group The Moonlighters. He later took also part in a musical revue, which was the Tiny Kennedy Revue, where he toured the country. And a friend of him, Bill McWhorter from The Checkmates, approached him and asked him, let's do a kind of Sam and Dave type of stage act. Let's go for that. And yeah, they were touring and made a stop at Muscle Shoals, who was becoming also next to Motown, next to Stax, a heartbeat of the American music scene. And he got a contract by Rick Hall's famous Fame Studios. And Fame means actually Florence, Alabama Music Enterprises. And it later on became also a record label. And everything looked bright for Phillip, right? You get a contract at Fame Studio. You are known by Rick Hall, who has many possibilities to offer, so everything is going your way, right? Wrong. He recorded a couple of songs, but Rick didn't release them at the time. It actually took 2 years before these songs were released, but in the meantime, Phillip needed to have food. He needed to have some income to survive. And after a certain period, he left the label and said, I need to go on. With Huey Mue in Houston, Texas, he wanted to continue his career. He was produced by Huey, but this also led to nothing. So he once again left for Los Angeles to become a member of the Bean Brothers. But around 1969, finally something should change for Phillip. He was then signed as a songwriter to the Muscle Shoals studio. And he wrote a song which was first recorded by the lovely Katie Love, later on by Susan Cadogan. But the song became a hit with a version of a woman who made the song her own. And this woman was called Millie Jackson, and the song which became one of her signature songs is It Hurts So Good. I'm pretty sure you have heard her version already. In the meantime, Phillip released a song which was called Free for All, and also wrote another hit song which was intended to be recorded by Sam and Dave, but became a hit single for Tim and Mel, and the song was called Starting All Over Again. In the meantime, Phillip also wrote further material for Millie Jackson for two of her most famous albums, and this is Caught Up and Still Caught Up. In my humble opinion, Caught Up is one of the best and most important soul R&B albums of the 1970s. Of course, there's What's Going On, there are many others, but this one is an absolutely brilliant and stellar record. And I also highly recommend the follow-up, Still Caught Up. While he was flying high on songwriting, still there was no hit for Phillip on his own. But that changed later on when he released the single There's Another in My Life, which became his first hit. After that, he wrote a song which was called A Star in the Ghetto, and it was recorded by the Average White Band with Benny King. In the meantime, other artists with the likes of Bobby Womack, Joe Simon, Candy Stanton, Percy Sledge, the Staple Singers, Major Lance, Denise LaSalle, Lattimore, and Barbara Mason, just to name a few, recorded his material. But still, there was no solo album from Phillip yet. But what happened and what changed that was the year 1977, when Norman Connors approached Phillip, and also Phillip wrote a song for him, which was called Once I've Been There, which was released on the album Romantic Journey. This led to a contract with Atlantic Records, and some more singles followed. Some of them were One on One and You're All I Got in the World, which were hits in 1978. And finally, in 1978, Phillip Mitchell released his first album on Atlantic Records, Make It Good. As you can see, here is Prince Phillip Mitchell written. Prince was a nickname, and there were stories, how did he get that nickname? And the story behind this nickname is that while Phillip was a younger man, he had a German shepherd dog, which was called Prince. So he kind of adapted that name to him, or people at least gave him that nickname. And you will find this writing all over the place. So we have Prince Phillip Mitchell with his finally first album in 1978, which also features his version of A Star in the Ghetto. Highly, highly recommended. In 1979, he released his second album, which was called Top of the Line, and here it is also in its 70s glory. With the beginning of the 80s and changing of the musical landscape, his contract expired with Atlantic. But Phillip had another hit in the can with After I Cry from Lanier & Co., which was released in 1982. After that, Phillip made a break from the music business. at least till 1986, where he released his album Devastation on the Ichiban record label. He also recorded another album, which was called Lunar, but this wasn't actually released till 1991. Nowadays, Phillip is still active in the music scene. From time to time, he appears. He also has more projects in the making. At least that was some years ago, but he's still around and he's still alive. If you are a documentary person, if you have a camera and live in the United States, please do me a favor and ask Phillip Mitchell if he would agree to sit down for an interview, that we have his story, or make a documentary about this man. He wrote so many hits for so many people, and nowadays he hardly gets the recognition he so much deserves. Check out his material. He was a mind-blowing songwriter, a fantastic producer, and an also absolutely great singer. So his material, it doesn't matter which one you choose. If you find his record in the record store, go and grab them. I promise you, you won't be disappointed with the works of Mr. Phillip Mitchell. If you like that episode, I also highly recommend that you check out the playlist appearing here, and I catch you on the next one.